The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. The Irrigation Department says floods in the Gampaha district can increase if the rains continue in the next 24 hours. The National Building Research Organisation has issued landslide warnings to 8 districts. The ban on single-use plastic products will be effective from tomorrow. Current speed limits in the road network will be updated. New system for issuance of motor vehicle revenue license goes into effect from the 3rd of October. In news overseas, US urge to withdraw troops from Kosovo border as tension rise. In sports news, it's football. Jaswar Umar re-elected as the President of Football Sri Lanka. Local stories in detail. Director of the Irrigation Department, Engineer SPC Sujirwa, said that water levels of several rivers have reached to the spill level due to the heavy rains experienced in the western, southern province, central and Sabragamur provinces. Floods are prevailing in the low-lying areas of Katana, Jayala, Wattala, Gampaha and Minuangoda Divisional Secretariat areas due to overflow of Attanagalu Oya. Motorists are requested to be vigilant in driving along the roads that are partly submerged. The Irrigation Department says floods in the Gampaha district can increase if the rains continue in the next 24 hours. The flood situation in the lower areas of Nilwala River is still prevailing. The flood situation at the Gaul and Baddegama Divisional Secretariat divisions is prevailing today as well. Several by-roads near the Kaluganga are underwater. The people who use the roads should be vigilant in this regard. The water level of the Kaluganga has also been increased. The prevailing showery condition in southwestern part of the island is expected to continue further. The National Building Organisation has issued landslide warnings to the 8 districts. Accordingly, Gaul, Nellua in the Gaul district, Ingiriya in the Kaluthara district, Pasbage Korale in the Kandy district, Pitabaddara and Kottapola in the Mathura district, Kalawana, Ayagama, Ahaliyagoda, Ratnaura, Kuruvita, Palmadulla, Nivitigala, Kiriyalla and Alpatha areas in the Ratnapura district have been issued second-level landslide warnings. The pre-warning alert will be effective until 10 a.m. tomorrow. Sri Lanka Navy says that teams of sailors are ready to provide concessions for the affected people due to rainy situation. Several teams have already been deployed in several areas in order to provide concessions for the people who were affected by floods. Meanwhile, several roads in the Mathura district have been obstructed and transportation activities have stopped due to floods and overflowing of Nilwala Ganga. Several roads in the Akurassa-Mathura main roads are underwater. The police request the public to use alternative roads. 3,912 persons of 956 families in several districts have been affected by the heavy rains. 1,238 persons from the Kaluthara and Ratnapura districts have also been affected by the inclement weather. 65 houses have been damaged. The Disaster Management Centre has taken measures to provide concessions on a regional level. The Gazette notification issued banning the manufacture and use of several types of single-use and short-term plastic products will be in effect from tomorrow, the Central Environment Authority announced. The chairman of the CEA, Supun Patirage, stated that accordingly, legal action will be taken against the businessmen and other individuals who fail to comply with this new rule. Thus, the relevant inspections and raids will be initiated all over the island from tomorrow. As per the Gazette notification, manufacture and sale of single-use plastic straws, stirrers, cups, plates, knives, forks and spoons, as well as plastic string hopper trays and garlands and such products will be prohibited in the country. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. We continue with the local stories. The National Council for Road Safety has focused its attention to enlighten the young generation on the road safety and road rules. Chairman of the Council, Malit Jayatilaka, says that road safety and other relevant information will be included in the school syllabus from grade 6 to grade 11. Teachers will also be informed in this subject and guidelines. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Transport and Highways has decided to update current speed limits as they are not appropriate to modern developed road systems. The establishment of a new system of issuing motor vehicle revenue licenses in Sri Lanka will be implemented in 8 provinces of the island from the 3rd of October. Accordingly, this new system will be implemented first in the northwestern, southern, north central, Sabragamua, eastern, northern and Uva provinces. In the western province, the vehicle revenue license issuance system currently in operation will continue to be implemented. Accordingly, the issuance of revenue licenses at the Provincial Motor Traffic Department head offices and divisional secretariats throughout the island will be temporarily stopped from the 27th of September to the 2nd of October. The facility of obtaining revenue permits through online mode will also be temporarily stopped on the 6th of October till 12 midnight. To conclude the local news, the headlines again. The Irrigation Department says floods in the Gampaha district can increase if the rains continue in the next 24 hours. The National Building Research Organisation has issued landslide warnings to 8 districts. The ban on single-use plastic products will be effective from tomorrow. Current speed limits in the road network will be updated. New system for issuance of motor vehicle revenue license goes into effect from the 3rd of October. That ends the local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Taking a look at the main news story, children aged below 12 will be able to visit the National Zoological Gardens in Dehiwala free of charge tomorrow in view of the World Children's Day. Accordingly, a series of special activities and shows are scheduled to be held from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Dehiwala Zoo. Department of National Zoological Gardens said the day's events aim to hone the attitudes and abilities of children pertaining to natural resources and environment conservation while also entertaining them. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Taking a look at Watchlight, the government has decided to grant permanent appointment letters by the end of October to all the multipurpose development assistants who were recruited as trainees. In 2020, the government recruited 34,700 multitasking assistants as trainees, of which there are currently 29,000 people, and most of them have been given permanent appointments in the government institutions, provincial councils and local government state. Minister Janaka Wakkumbura said. That ends Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
It's the power to live life your way. The power to be a trendsetter. Power to you with digital banking from Commercial Bank. Commercial Bank. Our interest is in you.
Headlines of the world news. US urges Serbia to withdraw troops from Kosovo border as tensions rise. Greek farmers fear they may never recover. Slovakia's Robert Fico eyes comeback in Saturday's election. The US is urging Serbia to withdraw what it says is a large military build-up on the country's border with Kosovo. In the past months, tensions have been rising between Kosovo's minority ethnic Serb and majority Albanian communities. In response to the current situation, the UK said it was sending troops to join NATO peacekeepers there. The military alliance said it was ready to increase its forces following a standoff at a monastery in the north last Sunday in which 4 people died. In Greece, people are counting the cost of devastating floods that hit the center of the country after Storm Daniel in early September. Fruit trees, corn, and around a fifth of Greece's cotton crops have been destroyed and over 200,000 animals and poultry killed. Estimates by academics suggest the short-term effects alone could cost the Greek economy up to €5 billion. One of the worst hit areas is the Thessaly plain in central Greece. Thessaly is one of the country's main agricultural regions, and there are fears about the impact on food production. Slovaks vote this weekend in early elections following the collapse of the former centre-right government. Leading most polls is the populist SMER party of Robert Fico, who has pledged an immediate end to Slovak military support for Ukraine. Fico was forced to step down as Prime Minister following the murder of investigative journalist Jan Kuciak in 2018. To end the world news, the headlines again. US urged Serbia to withdraw troops from Kosovo border as tensions rise. Greek farmers fear they may never recover. Slovakia's Robert Fico eyes comeback in Saturday's election. That ends the world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
This message is for all the kids between the ages of 4 and 16 who love to draw. Commercial Bank's Arunalu Sittam is back once again. This time, the competition is also open to Sri Lankan kids currently living abroad. First, second and third place prizes will be awarded along with special merit and merit certificates. For more information, visit the Commercial Bank website. We have so many prizes to be won.
Development News.
Taking a look at the development news, Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira says one of the main factors affecting the increase in livestock production in the country is the lack of suitable animal species for the prospective products. He points out that at present, even though animals such as cows and goats are imported for milk and meat production, those animals die because they cannot withstand the climatic conditions in the country and suffer from other diseases. Therefore, the Minister advised the Department of Animal Production and Health to start research to introduce new species of cattle and goats suitable for the country in order to increase the production of milk and meat locally. That ends the development news. Moving on to sports news. Former President of the Football Federation of Sri Lanka, Jaswar Umar, was re-elected to the post at the election for office bearers held on yesterday. Umar polled 45 votes, more than twice as many as those of his competitors, Tilanga Dakshita, who got a total of 20 votes. The election was held last evening at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute's auditorium under the scrutiny of both the Federation International, the Football Association, and the Asian Football Confederation. That ends the sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Taking a look at the business news, the total expenditure of the government for the year 2024 is estimated to be around 3,860 billion rupees. According to the 2024 appropriation bill, the government is seeking 2,651 billion rupees for recurrent expenditure and 1,209 billion rupees capital expenditure from the consolidated fund. The 2024 appropriation bill is expected to be present in Parliament next week. That ends the business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And on economic news, oil prices fell in early trade today after a recent rally as profit-taking and expectations of supply increases by Russia and Saudi Arabia outweighed forecast of positive demand from China during its Golden Week holiday. Brent November futures, which expired today, were down 21 cents to $95.17 per barrel. Brent December futures lost 10 cents to trade at $93.0 per barrel this morning. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell 8 cents to $91.63 per barrel. That ends the economic news.
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. The prevailing showery condition in the southwestern part of the island is expected to continue further, the Meteorology Department said in its weather forecast today. Accordingly, showers or thundershowers will occur at times in western Sabaragamuwa, southern and northwestern provinces and in Kandy and Nuwara Eliya districts. Fairly heavy showers of about 75 mm can be expected at some places in western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in Galle, Mathura and Puttalam districts. A few showers will occur in Anuradhapura district. Fairly strong winds of about 40 to 50 km per hour can be expected at times in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in Trincomalee and Hambantota districts. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The Irrigation Department says floods in the Gampaha district can increase if the rains continue in the next 24 hours. The National Building Research Organization has issued landslide warnings to 8 districts. The ban on single-use plastic products will be effective from tomorrow. Current speed limits in the road network will be updated. New system for issuance of motor vehicle revenue license goes into effect from the 3rd of October. In foreign news, US urge Serbia to withdraw troops from Kosovo border as tensions rise. In sports news, it's football. Jaswaruma re-elected as the president of Football Sri Lanka. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.